Hello Sharks, I am Jonathan Little for PokerNews.com. Make sure you check them out to stay up to date on all the poker news that you could possibly handle. Today we have a hand from High Stakes Duel, where Phil Hellmuth, master of live poker and wizardry, finally decides to change gears and go from being little bit tight, little bit cautious, to maybe the exact opposite. He's playing against Negreanu, world-class player, GTO practitioner. Let's see if Negreanu can use the GTO strategies to crush the wizard. Negreanu raises up to 4,000 with the 9-7 of diamonds, playing about 44 big blinds deep. Perfectly fine, perfectly standard. And now, Phil Hellmuth, who doesn't do a whole lot of 3-betting, 3-bets to 14,000. So this is a scenario where normally Negreanu could never fold. Let's discuss the times where you could consider folding. If you know pretty close to definitively that when Phil Hellmuth re-raises, he has just really good hands, like Jackson better and Ace-King, you should probably fold because you are way, way, way behind. However, if Hellmuth bluffs ever, then you can't really fold. From a GTO point of view, no way you could fold against the GTO opponent. I actually interviewed Negreanu and Hellmuth on my podcast, YouTube channel at youtube.com/pokercoaching. You can listen to the audio version at, just search the Poker Coaching Podcast in your app. It'll come right up. And Negreanu told me that he thinks that Hellmuth 3-bets with the best hands most of the time, not all the time, but most of the time. The best hands being like Jackson better and Ace-Queen and better, but not stuff like King-Queen suited, Ace-10 suited, Jack-10 suited, that you certainly could just 3-bet for value. And then he also 3-bets with just random sporadic garbage, like the 9-4 offsuit. And to be fair, you typically should be 3-betting kind of polarized. So the question really becomes, what percentage of Hellmuth's 3-betting range is garbage? And, for all I know, it's something like 70% value hands, 30% garbage. And if that's the case, Negreanu should probably stick around. And he should especially stick around if he thinks Negreanu is going to eventually play the nuts and the garbage differently after the flop. For example, let's say Hellmuth always just goes bet, jam with the nuts, and he bets the flop with the garbage, but then checks it on the turn and folds to a bet. Well, then now Negreanu really, really, really wants to get to the turn where he's going to get very clear information. Question is that information you're getting actually accurate? Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. Let's take a look. Negreanu calls, flop comes, King 6-6. 1 diamond, 2 spades. Negreanu has all the backdoor flush draws, but besides that, not a lot. And Hellmuth bets 13,000, about half pot. So look, against the GTO opponent, no way you can fold this. But if, again, Hellmuth's range is very tilted towards premium hands, like aces, kings, queens, ace-king, even though you have a lot of backdoor draws, you should probably just fold immediately because pot, if you call, is going to go up to something like 60K or so, and Hellmuth only has a pot-sized bet remaining, right? So it's not a great scenario to be in this spot with backdoor draws, because if you do happen to turn one of your draws and you face a big turn bet, you actually are kind of close to having to fold it, right? And if Hellmuth checks the turn, he could easily just be setting you up to bluff. For all I know, like Hellmuth could have ace-king, he could check every turn, let Negreanu bluff it off, and then gobble it up, right? So this is a pretty dicey spot where I think against a player who definitely has the appropriate portion of bluffs in their range, you should call, but I'm not so sure that's the case in this scenario. I would have called, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying we should fold, but it's a tough scenario. You may say, can we actually know what Hellmuth is doing? I don't know. Do you take recent history or perhaps long history to indicate something about your opponent's strategy and assume they're never going to change? I don't know. I think I, Jonathan Little, have a little bit of a problem assuming that I don't know what the opponent's doing. Whereas I think other players are at the other end of the spectrum where they think they always know what their opponents are doing. And in reality, you're probably somewhere in the middle. People are capable of mixing it up. They're capable of changing. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. Anyway, in this scenario, Negreanu calls. And I think the call is especially good, by the way. Like we mentioned, if Hellmuth 3-bets his bluffs pre-flop, bets them on the flop, and then just gives up with all of them on the turn, then calling is clearly great, because whenever Hellmuth checks the turn, Negreanu just wins the pot every time. Anyway, turn comes, the 8 of diamonds. Pot is 54,000. Hellmuth has 60,000 behind and bets 28,000, about half of his remaining stack. Negreanu sitting here with the straight and flush draw. What more do you want in your life? Do you think he's going to hit it? All right. In this scenario, Negreanu has a pretty interesting decision. And I want you to take a second and think about this. Because Hellmuth has half his remaining stack in. So in this scenario, facing this bet, what should Negreanu do? Should he fold? Because he has the 9 high. Should he call and try to improve to a very strong hand? Or should he just go ahead and pop all the money in and hope for the best? I want you to pause the video and write what you would do in the comment section below. All right. I hope you did it. This is a very, very interesting spot. And I actually cover situations like this a lot at my site, pokercoaching.com. And, well, Father's Day is here, and we're having a big, big sale. It's too big to even talk about it right here. I want you to head over to pokercoaching.com/fathers to be sure you get a big discount on pokercoaching.com. Make sure you do not miss out on that at pokercoaching.com/fathers. In this situation, I think Negreanu has one option, and only one option. Let's go through all the options. He can fold, but even though you're not getting the best odds, Negreanu needs to win roughly 25% of the time. He's going to, right? He's going to improve to a diamond or a straight pretty good amount of the time. Count the number of outs, right? Even if he is dead every once in a while, he has 9 flush outs plus 6 additional straight outs, right? And that gives him, what? 28-ish% equity, and he needs to win 25% of the time. Plus, he's going to get paid off sometimes when he gets there. Like, say, Hellmuth has pocket aces and a 9 comes. He's going to pay him off for the remaining 32K. So this is a spot where we're definitely not folding. The question becomes, should we call or should we shove? And the thing is that if we do go all in, do we expect Hellmuth to ever fold? And given the read that Negreanu told me on my YouTube channel, youtube.com/pokercoaching, in our interview, he thinks that Hellmuth really just doesn't triple it off all that often. When he goes bet, bet, jam, he just has a really good hand. And when he checks, that's often when he's usually going to give up. So here is Hellmuth setting up this bet, bet, jam. I think going all in this scenario would be ridiculous for Negreanu. Because essentially, if you think you have roughly 28% equity, you want to put in the minimum because you're way behind, right? You have good equity, but if you go all in, you're just putting all of your money in behind instead of only 28,000 behind. This is a spot where some people just kind of like throw up their hands and say, oh, well, I'm almost all in. I might as well put the rest in. But no. When you have no fold equity, you want to call when you are very clearly behind, as Negreanu is in this scenario, but you're getting the right pot odds. So this is a spot where if I was making a quiz on pokercoaching.com, we have over 1,000 of them. Again, make sure you check it out, pokercoaching.com/fathers. I would give call like 10 points, fold 0 points, all in like 1 point, because I guess Hellmuth folds every once in a while whenever he has the 9-4 offsuit. All right, Negreanu does make the call. River is the 9 of spades, and ooh, we have a nasty one because now Negreanu improved, but to well, not a very good hand, because notice the spade flush comes in, he still loses to the king, loses to the random 6 like 6-2, loses pocket aces. Hellmuth bets 32,000 all in. Negreanu needs to win, what, like a sixth of the time? Not all that often. Even from a GTO point of view, I think this could just be a fold. Even getting very good odds. This is an annoying spot, but like all you're beating is the stone garbage bluffs. And given Negreanu's read that Hellmuth does not make the stone garbage bluffs on all 3 streets, it's just a fold. You improved, but not quite good enough. So Negreanu makes the discipline laydown. Didn't take him long at all. And Phil Hellmuth was in zoom mode. Zoom. Oh my gosh, can you believe this? Let's go back and replay this hand, okay? This is insane. Think about this. Phil Hellmuth, thought to be on the tighter side. 3 bets pre-flop with the 10-2 suited. Zoom. To be fair, I don't hate it. I mean, I think you should probably call this and 3-bet more of the junky or offsuit hands that are perhaps not quite good enough to call, but hey, whatever. Zoom. Okay, fine. Flop comes. King 6-6. Phil Hellmuth, zip and pip besides a backdoor flush draw. 13K, zoom. Stack's about to go into the gutter if he does not improve. And he goes for a 13K bet. I like this. I think this is fine and good. You should be continuation betting here a lot. Turn is the 8 of diamonds. Zoom, zoom, zoom. We turn the flush draw. What more do you want? Guess I don't hate a bet. What are you actually supposed to do here? I'm not sure. You don't really want to check, because if you check and Negreanu bets, it's a pretty bad spot for you, right? You probably have to fold. Notice here that Hellmuth with his 10-2 of diamonds does not have the additional straight outs that Negreanu has. That said, once you bet 28K, it's a pretty weird bet to bet 28K here, because once you bet 28K, if Negreanu shoves with a king or a 6 or whatever, the queen high flush draw, you got to call it off, right? Would Hellmuth have called it off? I don't think Hellmuth is the type of player who likes to call it off with the 10 high, but hey, you're speeding here. What are you going to do? I mean, if you do bet here and get jammed on it, it's unfortunate. It's so unfortunate, but you got to call. And then, the most impressive play here, on the river, even in a spot where Negreanu could easily have a king, a 6, a flush. He could have some random straights. Hellmuth still just pops it in there, giving amazing odds. And oh my gosh, he got the fold. I cannot believe this hand. When I was watching this hand, I was like, this is amazing. This is amazing stuff right now. Make sure you check it out on Poker Go. If you have not seen this, this one was a lot of fun. And zoom mode fully activated, and somehow he got Negreanu to put in. How many chips went into this pot? Goodness gracious, holy moly. There were 70,000 of Negreanu's chips in this pot. And he got him to fold it out on the river, even when he, spiked the best hand, but the hidden best hand. And I certainly don't fault Negreanu for playing this hand on any betting around the way he did. When your opponent is thought to not run all that many bluffs, though, and they decide to run the big bluffs, they often get away with it. And that's exactly what happened here. And it put Negreanu down to 29 big blinds. Make sure you go and subscribe to my YouTube channel, youtube.com/pokercoaching. Make sure you click the like and subscribe buttons on this video, because we're going to have more coverage of this very, very wild, fun, exciting, heads-up duel between these two titans of poker. Also, click the notification bell, because I make something like 5 YouTube videos a week for you. I do this for you. I appreciate you being here, and I want to do everything I can to help you become the best poker player you can possibly be. So make sure you click subscribe and take advantage of what I am doing for you. So that's going to be it for today. Again, if you want a big discount at pokercoaching.com for Father's Day, check out pokercoaching.com/fathers. Happy Father's Day to all the fathers out there. And that's it. Good luck. Have a great week. And I'll talk to you next time. Howdy, partners. Station Master Little here with a public service announcement.
It's come to my attention that a few of you have become extreme calling stations. Now, I love calling. I'm the station master after all. But you can't call with queen high every time. Sometimes you have to fold.
Click subscribe to make sure you don't become a superstation.